Being a guitar teacher, I'm in a pretty unique position where I get to see lots and lots of students. So I see a lot of the same mistakes over and over again, especially with beginners. So I'm going to share with you today my top 10 things that I see students doing wrong, or maybe that they could be doing better, more efficiently, how to correct them too. So the first one I see a lot is beginner students coming in with the wrong sized instrument, right? It's so important, especially with acoustic guitar, that you find an instrument that fits your hand and fits your body well. A lot of times people come in, maybe they're a little bit more on the petite side, and they have this big dreadnought guitar with a wide waist, and they can hardly get their arm around it, and the guitar is just fighting them. Or sometimes students will bring guitars in that are just really set up poorly, and like the strings are like 1.5 inches off the fretboard. You can drive a truck underneath it, and they're fighting that while trying to learn chords and whatnot, and it makes it extremely difficult and frustrating. So it's so critical that you have the right sized instrument and it's set up well, because you don't want the guitar fighting you. Second thing I see with students is they don't have a structured plan. They're not sure what to practice, and they're just practicing any old things, right? And it's so important that no matter what teacher you go with, or what internet program you go with, or how you're learning, that you have a structured plan with incremental steps, especially in the beginning, that with practice routines, so you know what to practice and how to practice. And these steps are taking you to a goal, so you need identifiable goals. But that's so important, whether you go with my online curriculum at nextlevelguitar.com, or who's ever, or whatever teacher, but you need structure. Third thing is, oftentimes there's too much emphasis placed on songs. And songs are important, don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying that the songs aren't important. But oftentimes too much emphasis is put on songs, and oftentimes, like, you'll talk to a guitar teacher and they'll say to you something like, oh, just, bring in a couple of songs. Let me know a few songs that you want to learn. I'll teach them to you, right? A guitar teacher like that's probably not the best way to do it. You probably want to get someone else, because it's my goal as a teacher to help you learn how to play guitar, right? How to learn the instrument. I could teach you a couple songs, but what good is that after you know a few songs, right? See, I want to teach you to play the guitar so you could play any song. See, that's the main point. You want to use songs, but you want to use them as vehicles. Use songs to practice your strumming. Use songs to practice your chord changing. Songs to practice your rhythm. And you break it up like that as you're learning. And kind of like the perk is, you get to learn a song. The goal isn't to learn the song. The goal is to learn to play guitar, because then you'll be able to play any song pretty much, right? And if you want to learn lots of strum patterns and rhythms and songs, and how I teach songs broken down really easy, you could learn them really fast. And I got tons of songs on one of my YouTube channels, Epic Guitar Instruction. Check it out. There's a link on my profile page. I teach lots of songs for all level players. I have a playlist for songs with no bar chords in them, in case you're just starting out and you want to do songs, with all open chords. But check out the way I teach songs. It's more in a way in which it's helping you along your journey, and you learn the song as a perk. So check that out. Fourth thing I see often with students, especially early on, is too many negative thoughts. I hear a lot like, oh, I can't play guitar, my hands are too small, or, oh, I can't play, I don't have a rhythmic bone in my body, or I'm just not musical, right? You have to kind of put all those negative thoughts aside and be very positive. Now, the learning curve when you first take up most instruments, especially guitar, is very steep, but then it levels off after a while, so it gets easier. So you got to kind of get through the beginning aspects of guitar. You have to kind of table all the negativity and know that anyone can play guitar. There hasn't been any student that I haven't been able to teach in over 25 years that I haven't been able to help learn to play the instrument. So you can do it. You got to be positive. Fifth thing's what I call information overload. And this is very easy to fall trap to, because in today's modern society with the internet, right, we have so much information available to us just a click away. It's both a blessing and a curse, because it could be very overwhelming. And what happens is a lot of students are studying with this person and watching this video and that video, and they're trying to do this, and then they're doing that, and they're getting information from them and there and this. And a lot of times they're just skimming over the top of things instead of drilling down on a few things. Drill down on them, get them down, and then you're going to move on, right? So you can keep moving forward instead of just kind of skimming and spending so much time looking and trying to get all this information from all these different sources. You want to stick with just a couple of things at first. Sixth thing, students are not scheduling their practice time. No matter what level you're at, you need to schedule it, write it down. When you write something down in your planner book, in your schedule, or on your phone, or on your planner, on your phone, whatever, but you write it down, it has so much more higher percentage chance that you are going to do it when it's written down and scheduled for that time frame, because you're not going to schedule anything else on top of it because you have that blocked out, right? So it's really important, and it makes a big difference. Schedule your practice time, even if it's only little blocks of time. You don't need an hour every day. You could just grab 15 minutes of time that you normally would be wasting away, maybe 15 minutes before you go to work, or 15 minutes before you go to school, or 10 minutes before your dinner's ready, or 10 minutes after dinner, or 15 minutes before you put the kids to bed, right? Those little increments of time, you could do 2-3 of those a day. It makes all the difference in the world. You don't have to have an hour block. So schedule it and hit it hard. Seventh thing I see a lot, which really holds students back, is they're using improper fret hand techniques. And in the beginning, especially when you're trying to learn chords and change chords, you really want to use the proper fret hand techniques and build the proper fundamentals, because that's what you're building on top of. And if you develop bad habits, those bad habits are really hard to untangle later down the road, right? So especially with your fret hand, there's a lot of different techniques which will make things so much easier. If you want to learn about them, click on the link on my profile page, and that will take you to a lot of free content. But go to the chord changing lesson. It's free, and I give you all kinds of chord changing tips, my best tips and exercises that'll really get your chord changes blasted to the next level, but it really works on that fret hand technique. So you really want to make sure you have solid fundamentals, and really want to make sure you're employing the best and the most proficient fret hand technique. Eighth thing I see students do all the time, and it kind of holds them back too, is they're strumming way too fast, or they'll start slow and then they'll just continually speed up. Remember, especially when you're first starting on guitar, the faster you strum, the faster you're going to have to change chords, and you're not ready for that yet, right? So you want to strum really slow at first, and slow and in time is so much better than fast and sloppy, and then you slowly build up that speed and it will come. So slow down that strum. Ninth thing, I see this a lot, is students have problems holding the pick in their hand. If they're using a pick, it slips out, it falls on the floor, they're continually dropping it. It's an easy fix. Get a pick that looks like this, right? You want picks with raised letters or ridges or holes in them, something that will help you hold that pick and you'll never drop it again. And it makes a huge difference instantly. And the last thing is I see a lot of problems is the attrition rate with guitar and with instruments in general. A lot of people give up, they quit. And let me just suggest it may not be your fault, okay? It could be, but maybe not, because, the first thing is, you have to have realistic expectations. It's going to take a while with any instrument. You're not just going to pick up an instrument and play an F chord, for instance, on guitar. You're not just going to pick up an instrument and start playing songs instantly. It's going to take a lot of work before you get to that point. So you want to have realistic expectations. But the other thing is, it could be maybe you just don't have the right teacher. There's a lot of mediocrity in the teaching world. And just because somebody is a great guitar player doesn't necessarily mean they're a great teacher. It's a totally different set of skills. And I think teaching is an art. You might not have a really good teacher. And the problem with that is that, teachers say, student do. And if they're sending you down the wrong path or not explaining, what to practice or how to practice, it's setting you up for failure. So it might not be your fault. You want to get a really solid teacher or follow a solid structured curriculum. I hope this helps you along in your guitar and music journey. Don't forget, please like and subscribe, and also click the link on my profile page to get that free video lesson on chord changing, free ebooks, also links to my song lessons on my YouTube channels. Check all that out. Please like and follow. Remember, your guitar playing is an evolution. Enjoy, take care, see you soon.